Are the higher-ups in the NFL quietly sending a massive signal to the Chicago Bears that this franchise is right on the razor's edge of becoming the next major Super Bowl contender? I am diving deep into that exact question right here on today's episode because what we just saw roll out from league insiders is going to completely blow your mind. Before we get rolling into the details, smash that like button, share this video with every Bears fan you know, and hit that subscribe button to join our community so you never miss a single update. Now let me throw a thought out there to get your head spinning right off the bat. When an annual league-wide survey of over 70 active scouts, coaches, and front office executives ranks your roster among the absolute elite, is it still fair to call this team a work in progress? Or are we officially out of excuses? Let's get straight to the raw numbers because ESPN's Jeremy Fowler just wrapped up his massive annual positional rankings, where he pulled more than 70 NFL personnel to establish the official consensus top 10 at every position on the field. When the dust settled on this brutal evaluation, the Chicago Bears walked away with 4 players ranked inside the absolute top 10 at their respective positions, plus another 7 guys who secured major respect as honorable mentions or players receiving direct votes. Think about that for a second. That means 11 core contributors on this football team are officially recognized by opposing coaches and scouts as high-level NFL starters or game-changing blue chippers. Look at the rest of the league for some perspective. The Detroit Lions led the NFL with 9 top 10 players, the Philadelphia Eagles had 8, the Kansas City Chiefs had 7, the Houston Texans had 6, and teams like the San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Rams, and Baltimore Ravens all landed 5. Notice a pattern there. Almost every single team on that list made the postseason and pushed for deep playoff runs. But here is the massive kicker that every Bears fan needs to lock in on. The Seattle Seahawks didn't even place 5 players inside the top 10, yet they went all the way to win the Super Bowl in completely dominant fashion. That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that while having a swarm of superstar blue-chip players is great, having incredible roster depth with high-end, dependable starters spread across the entire board can be more than enough to lift a Lombardi trophy. So let's break down this Chicago roster position by position, starting with the offense. At quarterback, Caleb Williams officially cracked the top 10 in the entire league, landing right at number 10. That is a monumental vote of confidence from league executives. Having Caleb already ranked inside the top 10 as an ascending talent gives Chicago the ultimate equalizer. Look at Josh Allen up in Buffalo. The Bills haven't always boasted a perfect roster, but because Allen sits in that elite quarterback tier, Buffalo is a legitimate championship threat every single year. While Josh Allen might currently have the edge in experience, Caleb Williams has the tools, the arm, and the raw upside to jump into that top 5 tier this season. And if Caleb makes that leap, Chicago instantly becomes a nightmare for every defensive coordinator in football. Moving down the offense, DeAndre Swift picked up solid votes in the running back category, proving league personnel still respect his explosive playmaking ability. At tight end, young sensation Colston Loveland stormed into the rankings at number 7, while Cole Kmet locked down a strong honorable mention spot. Having 2 tight ends ranked in the top 15 in the entire NFL gives this offense unmatched tactical flexibility, especially when running heavy 12 and 13 personnel packages. Over on the offensive line, Darnell Wright proved his status as a cornerstone franchise tackle by ranking as the 6th highest offensive tackle in the NFL. Throw in veteran guard Joe Thuney coming in at number 5 among interior linemen and Jonah Jackson picking up strong votes, and Chicago's front wall is shaping up to be an absolute fortress. Now, let's toss out our official question of the day for everyone watching in the comments right now. I want every single one of you to scroll down and type your answer. Drop a Y for yes or an N for no. Do you believe the Chicago Bears have enough sheer talent to win the Super Bowl this season, or are they still 1 year away? Drop your answer right now and let's get a real debate going in the comments below. Switching over to the defensive side of the ball, the respect continues to pour in. Montez Sweat was the primary defensive lineman to pick up strong votes, proving he remains the anchor of this front four. At linebacker, TJ Edwards stayed solid in the received votes category, while Devin Bush is starting to turn heads again after putting together consistently solid tape. In the secondary, Jalen Johnson earned an honorable mention just outside the top 10 cornerbacks, and as long as he stays fully healthy, we all know he can play like a shutdown corner on any given Sunday. Meanwhile, safety Kobe Bryant grabbed an honorable mention as well, continuing his steady ascension into one of the most reliable secondary players on the rise. Of course, no team is without its fair share of genuine questions. Chicago didn't land any top 10 votes at wide receiver or defensive tackle. But let's be realistic about those rooms. With receivers, Rome Odunze is bouncing back from his foot injury, and Luther Burden III is building off an electric second half of play. If those two stay healthy alongside veteran presence Khalif Raymond, gadget playmaker Xavier Thomas, and Jody Walker, this receiver room has more than enough firepower to produce. The true spot that keeps defensive coaches up at night is the interior defensive line and pass rush depth. With Grady Jarrett getting older and Javon Dexter still developing, the defensive line has to find ways to generate pressure and stop the run by committee. If Austin Booker can break out and provide extra juice off the edge, this defense can take a dramatic step forward. To put this all into perspective, winning a Super Bowl requires your core players to elevate to new heights. If young stars like Caleb Williams, Colston Loveland, Rome Odunze, or Luther Burden III elevate from good starters into unquestioned blue-chip superstars, Chicago can bridge the gap between themselves and the top tier of the NFC. Before we get out of here, we also have to talk about a huge issue bubbling up across the entire NFL that directly involves Caleb Williams and veteran stars like George Kittle. Players across the league are getting increasingly vocal and downright furious about stadium field conditions. Players are publicly calling out league owners for laying down pristine, natural grass fields for international events like the World Cup, while forcing their own multi-million-dollar athletes to play on dangerous artificial turf week after week. Even though Soldier Field uses Bermuda grass, player safety across the entire NFL is reaching a boiling point. The players want natural grass mandated league-wide, and seeing franchise leaders use their voices shows the modern NFL culture is changing fast. At the end of the day, Chicago is sitting in an incredible position heading into the season. The talent is undeniable, the league is taking notice, and the future is wide open. Hit that subscribe button to stay locked into all our latest updates. Enjoy your weekend, and let's get ready for football.